What's up, guys? Barrett Freeman here with PropertyTales podcast. I'm a realtor, a broker. I own a property company, a property sales company, a property management company, and we just started a maintenance company. If you need any of those services, give us a call. We're happy to help. We're located here in Corbin, Kentucky. Thanks for joining us.
So where do we go from here? Where do we go? Where do we go? I don't know.
Welcome back to Property Tales. This is episode 9. I'm here with Ben Childers. He also has a extensive background that's hard to probably say in one sentence, but thanks for joining us.
Yeah, of course. I'm excited to be here. I've watched your first few episodes, and I'm proud to have my own starting now.
Have you ever been on a podcast before?
Not like this. Me and my buddy Sahil joked about creating one in college, but we never got around to doing it, so I'm kind of excited to finally get to say I am on a podcast.
Was that for an entertainment perspective or a business or education?
I think the idea was to kind of just encapsulate anything that we were interested in at the time. It never happened, but that was the idea that we were floating around.
So we work together as lawyers, and then our other business endeavors are slowly starting to overlap, which I'm very much appreciating because you're very easy to work with. I think you have a very similar business mindset to me and to my brother Blake. So hopefully we keep moving in that direction where we're just kind of commingling.
I'm sure we will.
I'm sure we will too. So you're kind of touched on you and Sahil. Do you want to kind of talk about your background and how you got started?
Yeah, so like Barrett said, my name's Ben Childers. I am, like him, a few different things right now. I am a lawyer. I own a commercial photography company. I recently created a real estate company with my buddy Sahil.
Speaking of that, Blake and Tom texted me this morning and was like, what's Ben's LLC called? And I was like, oh, it's BCP. And they're like, no, the other one.
yeah, there you go. It's similar. It's BSCP Group, Ben Sahil, Childers Patel.
That's just not a normal situation for most people.
Yeah.
Like, which company are you referring to?
Yeah, I'm proud to have that problem.
It's a good problem.
But yeah, I'm staying busy. Me and Sahil are getting more and more active in the real estate world, and that's largely thanks to you guys. My brother Will is an agent with the Freeman brothers, and so he's been instrumental on helping put together deals that me and Sahil have taken part in, and it's really this nice synergy of everything coming together.
Yeah, I mean, our families have been doing business. Our dads are business partners as well. They started a law firm in the 80s, early 90s, and now we both are associate attorneys there. And they both have a bunch of property as well, and they've been investing in property for the last 30 years. Mm-hmm. Your dad has a really big piece of property right off 575, which, we've got listed right now. So if you guys are interested in highway real estate, we've got that. But anyway, our families have always done business together, and we will continue to always do business together. It's nice to have that because we bring so many different skills to the table.
Yeah.
But we're kind of getting ahead. But yeah, talk about how you got started, where you're from.
Yeah, so I am essentially born and raised here in Corbin. I was technically born in Lexington, but it doesn't really count.
Same with me. I'm technically born in Northern Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a Corbin boy.
Yeah, so I'm a Corbin boy through and through. Went to the Corbin schools for my whole career. Graduated from Corbin High School, class of 2017.
Woot woot.
Yeah. Went to UK for undergrad. I was I was actually the first person to complete what's called the UK Blue program, which is designed to let students who know then they want to go to law school get a jump start on that. So I truly only did 2 years of undergrad and then started law school during my third year.
I'm so jealous of that program.
Yeah.
So I did it the hard way. I did 4 years of undergrad, just getting ready for law school. But I will love to go early. And then in law school, I graduated a semester early because I took as many classes as I could. Yeah. I definitely would have done a program like that if it had been available. But
nice.
Anyway, I'm jealous of you.
Well, I mean, it got me out sooner, but I also had to miss out on a couple years of the fun experiences that are college.
What was the cost of the personal cost of doing it so aggressively?
Well, for me, it wasn't too significant because I lived on campus the whole time, so I still was around buddies and that atmosphere for the whole 5 years.
Yeah, but what was the workload doing such an aggressive?
I think like you, I can kind of get into the rhythm of anything that I'm doing, so it wasn't that hard to put in the work that it took. But the first semester of law school was definitely the most challenging thing I've ever done.
What did it look like? I guess most people don't know what law school's like, but just like college, you usually take 12 to 15 hours a week. But you probably, I don't know what the rule is they said for you, but for us they said 4 hours of outside study for every 1 hour.
Yeah, that's exactly what they said. And honestly,
So
I'd
was
say,
that any different with that program?
no, it was the exact same. So that's, in my limited experience, it's kind of like a common misconception when I've told people that. I didn't do any special kind of law school. I did law school just like anybody. The only difference is I was able to start it 2 years sooner. But I was a law student the same as every other law student.
So how much of your classes during the week were undergrad versus
Another
law school?
thing, I finished undergrad in 2 years. Just that last year, or that first year of law school, my hours double dipped. So I was only doing law school classes, but the hours were going towards both law school and that last year of undergrad. Because through Corbin High School, I had a year of credit already. Shout out to Corbin for the great prep program.
We're so lucky with how good our school system is here. But anyway,
Yeah. So essentially, if you want to add up the 4 years and it took for me to finish undergrad, the first year was completed in my 4 years at Corbin High School. The second and third year were completed in the traditional way at UK, and the fourth and final year was technically completed during my first year of law school.
How many kids were in that program that first year?
I ended up being the only one, so I was the guinea pig. I was the first and only at that time.
How did you even hear about the program?
My dad, Todd Childers, found it. Being the avid researcher that he is, he was just doing some deep dive research into the things in UK had available, and they had just announced that was an option. And so he presented it to me, and I didn't really know what was going on, but I said, all right, I'll try it out, and the rest is history.
So how was your overall law school experience?
I would sum it up as being like this marathon where there were different highs and lows. You're excited at the start, but then before too long, you're really starting to feel, that just overwhelming tiredness. But then, you would kind of catch your wind, you would catch your stride, and you'd start feeling good, and then, there's a big hill. But then at the end, it's this grand finish, and you're just so excited to be done. That's really the best way that I would describe it.
So my law school, we only had 2 grades each class. Was that yours? We had midterm and then a final?
I just had 1 grade in most classes. I think there's only 2 or 3 that had midterms. So
I loved having that midterm.
Yeah.
Well, it forced you to study serious.
Mm-hmm.
I obviously had to be prepared for class, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
But my law school barely took attendance.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I had any professors that took attendance. But the thing is, they didn't need to because everybody was there, because you pretty much had to be there if you wanted to do well. Because in law school, you learn using the Socratic method. So you're reading a bunch of cases the night before, sometimes the morning before class, and then you're going in, and the professor isn't doing much teaching his or herself. They are calling on you and your classmates and prompting you with questions to have you essentially teach the class. And so if you want to learn the material, you had to be there.
Yeah, good and bad. That Socratic method's brutal. I'm sure you've got a million horror stories, but the first week of law school, I'll never forget my criminal law class. Fortunately, our dad's a lawyer, so my dad said the biggest mistake law students make when they first start is they don't think there's any reading or prep for day 1 of class.
No.
But there's all kinds of reading for day 1, and they throw you in the deep end with this crack method. Mr. Freeman, stand up, tell me about that case. And you don't even know what's important, what's not. And
Exactly.
the first day of criminal law, we had this professor, and she walked in. She didn't even, no introductions, didn't say anything. She said, Mr. Caruso, Alec Caruso is one of my best friends from law school. He's a great attorney in Phoenix, Arizona. Shout out to Alec, hope he's watching. She stood up, so Mr. Caruso, Virginia v. USA. And he stood up, and he to his credit, he just started barreling through, but he'd not done any reading.
He's one of those.
And so she didn't say what page. Finally, he bumbled. She's like, all right, page 166. He turned to page 166. and he's standing up, your brain's not working. When you're your first day of law school, you're standing up in front of the class. He's at his desk, but everybody's looking at him.
I can't stress how much I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, and so he stood up and he's quickly trying to read, but your brain's not working. You're not reading in that situation. Finally, he goes, okay, these teenagers were at this underpass and they were spraying graffiti, and they got caught. And I'd read because I knew better. And that case was it was about a legal stop. Okay, very, very simple issue. So he was not talking about anything that we just read.
And the professor's letting him go on.
Everybody was confused. She's like, what case did he read? What case did he read? And I'm stressed. Did I read the wrong thing?
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm sorry, I didn't do the reading. So he started making up facts.
Oh, geez, that's hilarious.
And so the professor, she was redheaded. She got immediately just red in the face, like mad, which is not fair. He didn't know there's reading, but whatever. That's law school. They get you in there. They give you a few rib jabs right when you walk in. So she goes, Miss Crusoe, brief the next case. It's on page 170, and he starts to sit down. She goes, I didn't tell you to sit down. She makes him try to read ahead while he's standing there in front of the class. She called someone else that had read. They talked about Virginia v. USA, or United States. And she goes, all right, Miss Crusoe, brief the next case. It was terrible.
Oh, man.
It was terrible. His face was red. He's stumbling through, trying to, but still he didn't even have any training. He didn't know what was important, what to talk about.
Right.
So at the end of class, he kind of rushed out, and we'd met in orientation, and he's like, I'm done with law school. I'm quitting. I was like, don't quit. It's rough on everybody. You weren't graded there. Don't leave.
Yeah.
Stick it out. At least don't quit the first week.
Right.
Give it a month. Give it a real go.
Yeah.
His last name was Caruso. For the rest of law school, we called it being Caruso-fied.
Oh, my God.
When that happened to you in law school, because it could happen at any time.
So, luckily, fun fact, every single law student has days where they didn't actually finish all the reading. It's just a matter of how unlucky you are. Thankfully, I was never unlucky enough to get called on for a case that I hadn't actually read, except for one time. But with my children's luck, we like to say the children have some good luck, I was called on for this case. And it happened to be one of those little short ones where it's like just the half-page case. I looked down as I was asked to answer questions, and I said, yes, in this case, it looks like I picked out like 2 words from each sentence, descending down the page, and the professor said, exactly right. I said, okay, that was a freebie.
That is lucky.
Yeah.
You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, I was just flying through it, just saying random stuff, and it was exactly right.
Well, it definitely wasn't constitutional law class because there wasn't.
This was civil procedure.
Okay, so that makes a little more sense. The constitutional law cases, it was like 10 pages each case, and at least for us, it was just terrible. That was my hardest class, and that was the most reading I think I had in any class. What was your hardest class?
Probably tax. I think that there's no easy way, or no possible way to make tax easy, just a question of how fun the professor can make it, because, tax is tax. I will say I had a absolutely phenomenal professor, but the material was just so hard. It's tax.
I was lucky too. I had a phenomenal tax professor. I liked tax because I knew no one would like it, so I just went in with this mindset and I just devoured it. So tax ended up being one of my better grades, just because I had a good attitude. Another thing is I planned my hardest classes during the summer.
Oh, okay.
Because during the summer you can't. Well, at least in my law school, you couldn't take a full 15 hours.
Yeah.
You can only basically take 2 classes.
Gotcha.
Because they only did it in the evenings, and there's just wasn't much to choose from. So my first summer I did evidence because it's our big 4-hour, traditionally hard class. Commercial law, which is another hard class, and then I did tax.
Is that secure transactions?
Yeah, secure transactions and purchase money interest issues.
Yeah.
Which the bar doesn't even test half the time, most of the time, because it's such a deep cut.
Yeah.
But Kentucky bar, when I took the bar exam, they tested 18 distinct topics.
Wow.
I'm sure. I don't know. You probably just haven't heard the statistic for your.
Yeah, I don't know the actual breakdown, but just hearing that, it's bringing that PTSD.
I know. Unfortunately, we'll never have to take any tests like that again.
Yeah.
Now it's just the real world test. So you better have done your math right on that purchase, remember to pay the bank. And,
Exactly.
our tests are just a little bit different, but
Yeah.
they're equally valuable. My dad told me a horror story, not to get ahead of ourselves, but his first he bought this fourplex in Corbin when he first moved back from law school, and the attorney, an attorney was looking over the title and said the mortgage wasn't released before you bought, and there's $100,000 loan on that property that you've bought and owned for a year,
Right.
but you need to start paying or they'll foreclose.
Yeah.
And my dad's like, this is a mistake that bankrupts you. This is a mistake that it ends your real estate career.
Oh,
And so I was
that's an
stressed
actual
for him.
nightmare right there.
I was stressed for him, and he said, fortunately, that attorney was wrong. But my dad said his first thought was, these are the mistakes that kill you. And those are the tests we have to deal with now. Fortunately, we're a lot more diligent, I think, than they were 30 years ago.
And I think it's easier to catch stuff like that. Like, as an attorney that practices doing exactly that, doing title searches, I can, for most counties, do a title search from my computer at the office in 30 minutes or less. Back then, you had to go to the courthouse in person.
Whether it was an hour away or 4 hours away.
And you had to just, the old school way, manually read and check each actual D-book or mortgage book. Now I can just type in things on an automated online database, and it's still a bit cumbersome, but it's not cumbersome like that.
It's cumbersome because in Kentucky, it's county by county. The systems have no overlap.
Yeah.
I mean,
For sure.
have you seen any
Oh, no,
multi-county?
it's entirely county by county.
And we have 120 counties in Kentucky.
Yeah.
So in some of those counties, they charge you they charge you every county.
Yeah.
Do we even have any free counties? Maybe Whitley County, maybe.
No, it's not. I mean, it's free to go check in person,
Mm-hmm.
but the online database that I use, it covers over half of the Kentucky counties, but you have to pay to access each county individually.
How much does it cost?
I believe we pay something like $30 per county per month.
So like $3,000 a month.
Well, we don't have every county.
Yeah, but I did.
Yeah,
60
if you
times
wanted every county,
30.
yeah.
So 1,800, maybe.
Your
Does
math- We as a firm are paying for the ones that we have access to. We're paying the monthly unlimited subscription to get Knox, Laurel, and Whitley, because those are the three that I'm using most
And
often.
that's where we are.
For one of our clients, and you mentioned your dad's bank, I do have to fairly often get day accesses to counties like Perry County or Harlan or not. But for the most part, on the day-to-day basis, it's Knox, Laurel, and Whitley.
All right. So how was the bar exam for you? And it's a little bit of a leading question because I was talking to you a lot then, and I do know it is definitely a leading question.
Yeah, well, the bar itself was definitely the worst thing I've ever done. The studying for it was a whole other story. So when you're studying for the bar, most people pay to get one of 3 or 4 different big courses, and each one costs you like $3,000 to go through. I went with one called Barbary, and it was something like 325 hours. And I did complete it, but not without a trip to the hospital. So 2 or 3 weeks before the bar exam, I just finished studying. It was late at night. I was actually taking a drink of water.
Like 3 weeks before the test, right?
Yeah, it was like 2.5 weeks. And while I'm drinking this water, my heart starts racing. I'm standing up. It's like 10 or 10:30 at night.
I'm laughing. It's not funny, but
I'm like, okay, this is weird. Like, I'm literally just standing here drinking water.
like taking deep breaths, like
Yeah, I'm doing like all the relaxation exercises I could think of. I was like, okay, what's going on? So I call my uncle, who's a pediatrician, and I say, and this is by now probably 11 o'clock at night. I say, hey, Uncle Kyle, sorry to bug you so late. This is going on. I explained what was happening, and he said, well, check your pulse on your wrist. So I do it. And as I came to find out, I couldn't do it because my heartbeat was irregular, but at the time I didn't know that. So I'm taking my pulse, and I'm erroneously calculating it to be 90 beats per minute. It was absolutely not that, but I told him on the phone, it's 90 beats per minute. He said, well, that's fine. just sleep on it and see what it's like in the morning.
See about medical malpractice yourself to death.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he didn't know any better because his
I'm saying
patient,
you.
yeah, his
Human
patient
error.
told him the wrong info. I go to bed somehow. I don't know how I fell asleep like that, and I wake up, it's still doing it. But I still had to study for the bar because again, I'm 2.5 weeks before the exam. But I knew deep inside me that it was going to be an interesting day. So I had the foresight to pack an overnight bag because I was like, I don't think I'll be coming back here today. I go to Starbucks, meet
Get
my
caffeinated.
yeah. There's a whole series of bad decisions that I made, and I meet my girlfriend there because she was already going to be there to just kind of hang out with me while I studied. And about an hour into us just sitting there with, again, my heart's beating out my chest. I hadn't told anybody besides my uncle. I said, hey, can you feel my chest or feel my heart? It's feeling a little weird. She feels it and her mouth drops. She then pulls out headphones and kind of covers it and like records it. And then we play it back, and I could play the recording right now. It'd just take me a while to find it. But it's like the most irregular sound you can think of. And she said, your heartbeat isn't racing. It's irregular. And she's by no means a doctor. She's just a common person with common sense that could tell
That's
you.
not what a heartbeat sounds like.
That's not what a heartbeat sounds like. And so I was like, okay. And we sent it to some friends in med school, and they're like, go to the ER right now. I was like, man, but I got to study. I got the bar exam in
and
2.5
you're probably,
weeks.
and that's toward the end where you're probably pulling 10, 12-hour days.
Yeah, this was like the very beginning of July. And so I say, okay. After I study, after Uncle Kyle gets off work, which is like 5 o'clock, I'll go by his house and see what he thinks. So I spend all day with my heart going crazy, and I go to his house, and he feels it, or listens to it, and says, go to the ER right now. Actually, he said, go to urgent care right now. I go to urgent care, and they say, go to the ER right now. So I go there, and then there's like 40 people in the waiting room. I sign up. I tell them what's going on. I sit down, and immediately, Mr. Childers, and then I hear a doctor going, is Mr. Childers here? I'm the next person they call back. I jump the whole line because they think I'm having a heart attack. And then they immediately put me onto the bed, and they're going to cardioverse me and put me under. And my uncle shows up because he got the call. And I said, hey, if they don't fix this, what could happen? He said, you could have a stroke. I said, okay, let's do this. And so they put me under, and they cardioverse me.
So that's the paddles.
Yeah.
You got
And
paddles.
I got to use my overnight bag.
That was the only good decision you made in the
Yeah.
last like 8 hours.
Yeah, like I said, even that morning, I was like, I don't think I'll be spending the night here.
And so, what were you thinking after that? As far as were you having the thoughts of should I take the exam?
Oh no, I was going to take the exam. there is no stopping. I was like,
You're gonna be on hospital bed.
yeah, I was like 250 plus hours into studying. I was not going to burn 2 months of work. Like no matter what, I was taking that exam.
Did they know what caused that?
No, well, yes and no. So through this, the evaluations that they did, it was revealed that I was experiencing a hyperactive thyroid. And so I took some medicine, and that eventually got fixed. But what caused that, they still don't know and never really identified. So my heart problems were a symptom of a hyperactive thyroid that everybody just assumes was only exaggerated by the stress of studying. But the underlying cause of all that was never actually identified.
I can identify it.
What do you think?
The bar exam.
Yeah. But
I'm
yeah,
seeing a pattern.
there's definitely a connection there. But yeah, so that was a fun time.
I'm glad you made it.
Yeah, me too.
So
And I
what,
passed the bar.
you
so.
did. Congratulations. I've heard that's the hardest professional test there is. That's not a coding job.
I believe it.
Like software coding and like high level software coding.
Yeah, there's some states that are reciprocal with Kentucky and others that aren't. I can tell you that I will never practice in a state that's not reciprocal because I will never be taking that exam again.
Yeah, I've been a lawyer for 11 years now. I'm not taking another bar exam.
Yeah,
It's
it
just
will
not worth
happen.
it.
Yeah.
I guess there's a number someone could pay me to do it, but it's very high.
Yeah.
It's not 100,000. You couldn't pay me 100,000 to take another bar exam.
Well, Virginia, for me, with my bar exam, that I think was different than what you took. We now take the UBE, and
Yeah,
there's
that barely existed when I was taking it.
yeah, so there's 36 states that you can essentially take your score to if it's high enough. And I can take mine to any of them, and it's all the states in border Kentucky except for Virginia and maybe Illinois. But Virginia is significant because it's 50 minutes down the road. I would love to have Virginia. I have Tennessee, but I can't get Virginia unless I take another bar exam, and that simply won't happen.
So once you got your license, what was your career path at that point?
Well, luckily, because as you mentioned, our dads were lawyers, I knew that I was going to come work at our firm.
Okay, so I didn't know if you were tempted to stay in Lexington or look at Louisville.
So even now, I'm incredibly tempted to help grow our firm and put more satellite offices in other cities. And, we right now have a little satellite office in Lexington, but I never had any temptation to work in one of the big firms or even mid-sized firms in any of those cities. I knew that I wanted to join our firm and really treat it like a business, be entrepreneurial about it and help grow it. And I'm proud to say that's what I'm doing, bit by bit. I'm part of our growth.
Yeah, and I support you. It's hard to get super excited when we don't have any equity in it, but it is our legacy.
Yeah.
We will definitely own it one day,
Right.
but we're just so busy with our other business ventures that that I do my day-to-day law, but I'm not doing much on the the business growth side.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you're kind of taking that ball and running with it.
Yeah.
You're taking over the social media for the law firm? Have you talked to them about it?
Yeah, so we're in the works of kind of reconfiguring how we do our online presence. Not all the decisions have been made, but that is kind of part of it.
Dad asked me if I would do just some of it. Like you do the website and the SEO stuff, and then me do like content creation. But I'm just doing so much content creation for the real estate that I couldn't bear to do another business's content creation.
Well, this might be breaking news for you, but I think that we've likely landed on today a plan where we're going to try to hire like a local college student, part-time, 4, 5, 6 hours a week to come in and do some content creation for
Like
social
you follow
media.
a form and
Exactly, so people like you and I don't really have to worry about it. They can get some experience and really just have a fresh, dedicated approach to it. Imagine if our only job was making the Facebook and Instagram and TikTok look good. If that was our only focus, we would put our all into it. And so that's the idea. Just find someone that would have a fun time having a part-time job of just doing social media for a law firm.
Yeah.
Maybe with the Cumberlands or Union or wherever.
well, that's a great plan because I don't want to do it.
Yeah, it's like we can do it, and we do kind of do it, but if there's somebody that was their job, that'd be great.
It would be great because content creation can be, well, you've got to be consistent, and that can be very tedious. But also you have to be creative, and that's really hard for some people. It's definitely my biggest challenge.
Yeah.
As far as the content creation, but I mean, I'm posting like crazy, doing podcasts, but none of it comes naturally to me.
Yeah, and it's interesting for me because with the photography company, we literally are creating content every day. The guys and I, we're churning out maybe 10 to 20 projects a week on an average week. Some weeks we're doing more than that. So my day-to-day grind, I'm constantly dealing with content, but it's different when it's for the law firm because I'm used to working with real estate agents and showcasing properties, and I can tell you to a T how to showcase a property, but how to showcase a firm, that's an entirely different animal.
And it would take wrestling with it, trying different things, seeing what people are engaging with, what they're not,
Yeah.
and that takes time and a lot of effort. I've been wrestling with our real estate social media for about 8 or 9 months now. I'm just now getting to where I feel like I'm figuring out what people like and what they don't like, and that's 8 months of posting, 6 times a day, every day, 7 days a week, and that's outside of the podcasting, the reels. The podcast is nice fodder for reel creation, which is nice. So that's kind of killing two birds with one stone. I can cut 60, 90 seconds here and there of like an interesting story.
Yeah.
Like your school story or your bar exam story. That's not real. That's a 5-minute awesome video.
Yeah.
That's not real. That's that's like the bar exam almost killed me.
Yeah.
I can see it, and it almost did.
Yeah.
So
That'll be a book someday.
yeah. So I do want to segue now into the real estate photography, because that is
Yeah.
more prescient to what we're doing here today. So,
Right.
what services do you provide?
Yeah, so at BCP, which is what we usually refer to Ben Childers Photography as, we are generally a commercial photography company, primarily specializing in real estate. We will probably do over 500 shoots this year. I'm willing to bet that 450 of them, if not more, will be real estate shoots. And sure, we love to do things that aren't real estate, but real estate clearly is our bread and butter. It's what we are experts at.
So he's done our last reels. He's done some of our long form videos. He did our introductory video where there's a drone flying over Corbin. It's circling our gym of an
Shout out
apartment
to
building.
Jonathan Ewing as the photographer on all those you just mentioned.
Check out Jonathan's TikTok account. I'm sure he's got other ones, but I'll post a link now. But his stuff, he's so lucky because he's already creating the videos, but all he's got to do is throw them on TikTok, and they're already interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a little bit jealous of that. I have to always convert whatever my reel is or video to TikTok's form, so
Yeah.
it's like an extra 2 steps.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
plus people like to see that that content anyway, the big drone shots and
Yeah.
everything. So what are some of the special projects you have had to work on that weren't real estate related?
Yeah, so the shoots that we did for you all that you just referenced are probably the most significant shoots that we've ever done. So I'd have to say those are at the very top of the list when it comes to special projects.
Yeah. So one thing I forgot, we've got a series of commercials coming out over the next 3 months, and that was your company that produced all those.
Yeah. And so with those, we had auditions, we had full-blown scripts. We probably shot over 2 days, a grand total of maybe 10 hours.
Longer, probably.
Yeah, probably longer. So those were full-blown actual productions. Going much further down the difficulty level from that, probably every other week, maybe every 3 weeks, we will do a little shoot that's let's call it a non-real estate shoot. So just last week, we did a shoot for the KCOC where we were showcasing kind of their operations around one of the community colleges there and just highlighting their involvement with that. They will use that video at I believe, an awards ceremony here in a couple weeks. That's actually the second similar project we've done like that for them. We will work with tourism agencies to highlight natural areas or put together marketing materials. There's just a lot of random non-real estate work that comes up that is always more creative, so it tends to be a bit more interesting to work on, but it's also a bit more challenging because with real estate, like I said, it's our bread and butter. We know the formula. We can just crank it out. Our guys, be it me, be it Jonathan, be it Dalton, we will spend maybe 1 to 2 hours on the ground at a property. Andrew and Kyle, our 2 editors, will combined maybe spend an hour editing, and then we'll have a finished product that includes pictures and videos for a real estate agent. But when it comes to the more creative one-off shoots like your all's, it could vary from an hour to 10 plus hours on the ground, and then 2 hours to 15 hours in the editing room. So it's just a lot more unique and diverse in what's involved.
Plus, I run into your office once a week with some crazy idea.
And we love it.
You're like, yes, let me get back to you.
Yeah. I mean, that's what keeps us going. It's
Well, it expands your boundaries, your horizons. and,
yeah.
If you lose money on that one, then don't do it again. Or if you make a bunch of money, like, oh, that's something we might look at doing.
And through people like you just said, it is helping us push our boundaries and expand and grow. Like I said earlier, we'll probably do over 500 shoots this year. That's up from around 330 shoots last year. And then the year before last, we did upper 200s when it comes to number of shoots. So our trajectory is to the moon, and I'm so excited to say that.
So let's take a moment. Let's pull our. Let's go over that, like one of your videos
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense. So if you'll move your mic up here, you can kind of talk about your approach, the different shots that you have, and then I'll throw it up. Yeah.
All right, so to showcase one of our videos, we'll watch one of the 4 high-quality ad spots we made for the Freeman brothers. This is the one that you can call it Cooking with Friends, if you want to give it a name. It has Melissa, who is the face of Freeman brothers, and then Michelle, who is one of the actresses that we picked up at our audition in Danville.
Yeah.
So just watching this, you can tell the amount of work that went into it.
Just lighting that space was an hour or plus.
I can tell you that I was also surprised by the amount of work that it took to get the lighting right.
Like these out of Freeman Brothers
And
properties.
Michelle's doing the voiceover right now. She does such a good job. She's actually from Boston. She's back in Boston now, but that voiceover, she did a perfect job.
Yeah, and so watching this, every bit of that was scripted. From start to finish, we knew what we wanted, we knew why we wanted it, and we knew that at the end we wanted a call to action. That is, call the Freeman brothers if you wanted to make a lasting memory like that at one of your all's properties.
And Melissa's not a professional actress, but Michelle is.
Yeah.
And Michelle did such a good job of drawing Melissa's personality out.
Yeah, and the whole idea was showcasing one example of a lasting memory, and I think we captured that.
I'm biased, but I love it.
Yeah, so do I.
All right, let's look at one of the drone shots, because that's interesting, because there's people, there's talking, but those one of my favorite taglines when I post one of the drone videos is, this drone footage is mesmerizing, because it is.
It is.
I literally leave my body for a second.
Yeah. So, yeah, this one was a property that we filmed for my brother, Will Childers.
I've posted this on our Facebook as well.
Yeah, and I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this one got tons of views because it's so unique. I mean, it's an abandoned quarry in the middle of Frankfurt. Like, it doesn't get more unique than that.
Is this just one drone or multiple?
So, I believe that just one drone was used for this shoot. Sometimes multiple are used because for different reasons, we usually have at least a backup with us, and sometimes the different drones will get intermixed. So it can kind of vary, but there was just one used here. And the whole idea is to give the audience the feeling of being there and flying as a bird really around the property, showing them what it looks like, what they would be getting into if they bought this property, and showing them the potential that's there.
Is there? Do you have a pre-planned like selection of shots you want, or is it flying around and then editing it interesting?
So each of the photographers on the team, including myself, when I'm out there shooting, we probably have slightly different approaches. I know that when I'm filming, I'm trying to get different shots at different altitudes and different angles. So I'm probably going to film starting low and getting a bunch of different angles and different approaches at the subject, and then I'll get a bit higher up, and then a bit higher than that, and then I'll probably circle back down, and then I'll review my shots, make sure I got everything I wanted, and then that'll be that.
So as far as this video, I mean, how did you guys have a plan going in?
We never storyboarded, to call it that, beforehand for our real estate shoots, because not to put them down, but they're easy enough that it's kind of common sense for us. I mean, we're experts at this. We do, like I said, hundreds of these per year, so we know what's going on. I guess that's subconsciously probably do have game plans, but nothing that we planned out.
Just
ahead
because of the
time.
repetition.
Exactly. We just know what's going on. Like, I don't think I've ever had to call Jonathan or Dalton and say, hey, make sure you get that shot where you're going straight on at the house. It's like, I think they're going to get that shot.
Do they use a separate camera for the inside the house?
They do.
They do.
Yeah, so the drones are just for the aerials outside, and they have handheld cameras and they use for...
I've seen artists or photographers take the drone through.
Yeah, I mean, you can do that. It's just oftentimes a bit impractical, because imagine your office here. Sure, we could fly a drone in here, but it'd be...
No, they carry it.
Oh, well, so back in the day, when I first started, back in 2016, that's exactly what I was doing. I don't even know if the guys know that. I was literally carrying a drone around the inside of houses until I got my first gimbal, which was called an Osmo, made by DJI. sometime in 2017. But until then, I was carrying a drone around, and it made my arms so sore. And finally, I was like, I'm gonna spend what felt like a lot of money back then. It was like $400, $500 to get a gimbal. It still is a good chunk of change, but back then, it was a huge chunk of change for me.
And it just elevated the product.
Exactly.
Well, sounds like it was money well spent.
I think it was.
All right. We're gonna be like the Paul brothers. Have you seen? No, we're alive. What's up, guys? Barrett, Freeman, Ben Childers here.
How's it going?
We're gonna show you guys a house that he just bought that we're remodeling to get it ready to rent.
Yeah.
So
Got 2 cameras going at once.
I know we're fancy. So did you watch the Jake Paul boxing match the other night?
I did not.
Okay, so well, obviously when the brothers were together, this is how they were interacting.
Gotcha,
He was
okay.
looking at here, his brother, because they have different audience. So.
Okay.
Anyway,
cool.
so that's kind of what it reminds me of, and that's
Yeah.
ready to go. So we'll walk out here and kind of get a good view of the. What's up, guys? Waiting for a few people to join us, but this house behind me is the one that Ben just purchased that we're gonna manage and get it rent for him.
Yeah. It's 408 West 4th Street.
It's also Nibrock right now, so
Yeah.
there's probably gonna be a lot of traffic behind us.
I think it's beautiful. I love the outside. For a first investment property that needed some work on it, I couldn't be happier than the one we picked.
Yeah, and we got all kinds of people like just messaging us all the time, just trying to find a place to rent in Corbin. It's a little bit unfair. Do you see anyone marketing?
Not like you guys do.
Well, I mean, you got to. It's sales.
Yeah.
I say it all the time. If you're not marketing and no one knows where you are and who you are, they're not going to do business with you. What's up, guys? I'm here with Ben Childers. We're downtown Corbin. It's the week of Nibrock. We're really excited. We've got a house that is getting ready to go on the market in about a week. Hopefully, we'll post it in the next few days. Rent's going to be $13.50, but it's 3-bedroom, 1 bath. You can tell we're right downtown Corbin on 4th Street. In fact, some people will probably be driving by us and waving. So, anyway, we're going to show you guys that inside, outside. Take a look. I'll just follow you in since it's your house, and I'll just kind of be your cameraman.
Yeah, sounds good.
So, but downtown Corbin, man, what a beautiful house.
Yeah, I love it.
Nice flowers in the front. So 3-bedroom, 1 bath, just absolutely hardwood.
So this room, if I had to pick one room, that was the reason we bought the house, it's probably this one. It took a lot of work to fix this floor. You can't tell now, but when we first came here, it was all almost caved in, really soft everywhere, exposed.
It passes the jump test now.
Yeah, exposed dirt pretty much. But what sold me were these windows. The natural lighting in here is just perfect. I'm envisioning the renter who has this room just opening these windows and just, waking up to the sunlight, maybe seeing a sunset in the evening with this awesome lighting. So if I was living here, this would be my room. This room is also really cool. It has these cool kind of fixtures, accents.
I guess accents.
Yeah, whatever you want to call them. Really interesting ceiling. As you can tell, still a slight work in progress. We're in the last couple days, as Barrett mentioned, but just about done. It's looking great.
This is a new 3-bedroom, 1 bath, downtown Corbin. It's going to go on the market here in a few days. If you guys are looking to rent a house with 3 bedrooms, this will be a good opportunity for you. We're doing new floors.
Most everything that you can see is new. It's just the bones that are untouched.
Yeah, but yeah, it's in great shape. Definitely an older house like everything in downtown Corbin. But
This room isn't quite finished yet, obviously, but it's just about there.
yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable square footage, like 1,300 square feet.
Yeah, something like that.
But yeah, all kinds of space. If it wasn't so old, we could lay it out in a way that we could actually fit another bathroom. But well, I don't think the extra bathroom's going to.
Still a little bit of work in here, obviously.
I mean, look at these interesting ceilings and intricate floors. This is the bathroom. So the 1 bathroom, but this is also the laundry room in the bathroom. So awesome, pumped. I'll show you the kitchen here. It's got so this is a perfect example of how these houses are laid out so bizarrely.
Yeah,
This is a
it is
dining
kinda
room. it could have easily been either another bedroom or shove another bathtub in here, so it'd be 2 baths. But you work with what you got. House has great bones. Great kitchen. I mean, not great. It's tiny, but I know it's got it. So this is a new house that we're putting on the market in a few days for rent. If you guys are interested, shoot us a message on Facebook. It's got a great yard. You guys can see. We'll go outside. It's got a little she shed, but
It's hard to do this one-handed.
yeah. So
Might go the other way. It's like a 2-hand combination.
oh, it's tough. So, but we got a lot of there's barely anything on the market right now, as you guys know. So the fact that we're getting ready to throw a 3-bedroom on the market downtown Corbin, it's a really good opportunity. So reach out to us. This thing will rent quickly. If you go into freemanbrosproperties.com, which is where we list all our rentals, you'll see that we just never have anything to rent. We have hundreds of apartments and houses, but they just rent in 2 or 3 days. Oh, it's a great house.
I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
Let's lock her up.
Well, we'll do it. So we're right downtown Corbin, so we can Nibrock. So a lot of excitement going on in Corbin. A lot of reasons to come to Corbin. And if you're trying to move to Corbin, Freeman Bros Properties has houses and apartments for rent, just like this one. This 3-bedroom, 1-bath. Well, that's probably close to our time.
Yeah.
We've got a lot more to talk about.
I'll come back on.
And I'm definitely going to invite you back on as soon as possible. Thank you guys for watching. This has been Freeman Bros Properties. Reach out if you need to buy or sell, or if you want to buy, or if you want to sell to us. We're always looking to buy. Otherwise, thanks for joining us. See ya.
Where do we